Yo, what's up, everybody? All right, so I'm having some audio issues right now. Testing, testing. Oh my god. There we go. All right, testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. All right, so today, am I gonna get a copyright strike for this? Fuck it, I'm just gonna not play this shit. Okay, log in. There we go. All right, it is Sunday, August 17th, 12:19 a.m. This is part 2 to my Khan Academy stream. I finally figured out how to stream audio. I learned that Macs do not allow like natural streaming of audio to Streamlabs, so I had to jump through some hoops. Still had some audio issues today, even right before I started this recording, but it's all good. I am hoping that I'll have no audio issues when I do this stream. This is part 2. I'll have a link to part 1. In the last video or last stream, I finished units 1 and 2 of the second grade reading portion, and now I'm gonna go on to the last part of the second grade and then move on to third grade. So we're gonna see if I'm actually smarter than a second grader, and maybe if I'm smarter than a third grader. And again, this is just a stream to show people, what they have to expect when it comes to studying and, establishing higher level literacy in their lives. As I mentioned before, I have a handful of friends and acquaintances that I definitely want to help, like, just get them to a better place academically, help some people get their GEDs maybe. But yeah, this is just to show how the path may look for some people. And yeah, I was talking to a friend today, and I realized as important as it is to actually study, the main point of doing, well, the main thing to do is to just start. Period. So when you start, that's when things happen. But if you don't start at all, then you're not gonna make any progress. Even just like a tiny little step every single day, that makes progress. Then after a week, you made 7 tiny little steps. After a month, you made 30 little steps. So 30 little steps is definitely better than taking no steps at all. So again, another thing that I want to mention is, I'm just doing this to see if I am competent myself. I'm pretty sure I am, but we'll see once we get to like ninth and 10th grade. But yeah, I just want to see how far I could get. I'm pretty sure I'll get far. And one thing I did really want to mention is that although I kind of went through my last stream kind of fast in terms of when I got to the practice problems, I just feel like I want to do these questions at my own pace. Of course, everyone's going to have to go through their own pace. And if you guys want me to explain more about why I picked certain things before I picked them, I'd love to know that as well. So, yeah, without further ado, I'll switch. Oh, gotta change this. Okay, here we go. Opera. Here we go. There we go. So yeah, hopefully today you guys will be able to hear the videos or the YouTube videos once I play them. There was a lot of videos yesterday. Unfortunately, it could not capture the audio for those. But today it's going to be a little different. So yeah. What is the main idea? Alright, let's see if this audio works.
Hello readers, today I'm in this peaceful forest to tell you all about the skill of figuring out the main idea of a text.
Say, what's the big idea?
Yes, exactly. Wait, what? Oh, hello, squirrel.
You heard me, Big Legs. What's the big idea? With you tromping all over my patch of forest without so much as a how do you do?
I'm sorry, how do you do?
Hello.
How can I make it up to you?
Well, okay, I'm working on a school assignment.
Squirrels have school?
Yeah.
All right, sorry, go on.
So I've got this newspaper article, and Mr. Badgerton says I have to draw out what the main idea is. How is that different from a summary?
Okay, a summary is all the key details of an article or a story, but a main idea is bigger than details. It's what those details add up to. A main idea is the key information that the author wants you to know after you've finished reading the text. So, for example, what's going on in your article?
It's about the creek in the forest, and how everyone wants to drink from it, but the otters want to swim in it, the bears want to fish in it, and the beavers want to build a dam in it and turn the whole thing into a pond.
Not as peaceful of a forest as I thought, huh?
Not so much, no.
What you just told me is a summary of the events of the news story. But the big idea there is that there's a conflict or fight over who has access to the creek.
So you just zipped all the supporting details out of my summary and made it more about the ideas?
Yeah, exactly. The main idea is that different animals want to use the creek.
Can you give me a more complicated example?
I would love to. Why don't we take a look at this text about brain growth? So here's a passage about training your brain. I'm going to read it, I'm going to make notes, and then I'm going to summarize each paragraph. And then I'll take all those summaries, put them together, and that'll help us come up with a main idea. So, here we go. Your brain gets stronger when you exercise it, just like muscles get stronger when you exercise them. Training your brain isn't always easy or comfortable. In fact, your brain uses up 20% of the oxygen and blood in your body because it works so hard. Okay, so, your brain can get stronger, but it's not easy. Here are some examples of how your brain grows when you learn new things. Learning math strengthens the parts of the brain that are linked to memory, thought, and action. Imagine that. Remember when you first learned how to add and subtract? You got faster and faster with more practice. That's because your neurons, those are brain cells, your neurons were learning how to work with each other, and then your memory improved. But memory is useful for more than just math. I'm going to underline more than just math. That same part of your brain helps you remember basketball plays, dance routines, and even nice memories with your friends and family. So it's not just about math. Learning and practicing things helps your brain work faster. Learning or practicing anything, yes, anything, learning and practicing helps strengthen and change our brains. Your brain is changing and creating new neural pathways, which is just another way of saying brain connections, right? Neural is similar to neuron, so it's like having to do with brain cells. Your brain is changing and creating new neural pathways when you struggle to learn something new, so struggle is important. In other words, there's a lot happening in your brain when you're learning. All learning can build new information pathways, but learning things that are challenging for you can supercharge your brain growth. In other words, the more you're challenged, the faster you learn. So here are my paragraph summaries. Your brain can get stronger, but it's not easy. Learning and practicing helps your brain work faster, and the more you're challenged, the faster you learn. Putting those three things together, I would say that the main idea of this passage is that learning new information can strengthen your brain. Let's get a little thinky pinky back in there. What I did was I took something from each paragraph and found what they all had in common. There were some details, for example, about math or dance practice that are important, but aren't so important that they need to be included in the main idea. All of that can just sort of be pushed into this broader idea of learning new information makes your brain stronger, can strengthen your brain.
So how should I be thinking about main ideas?
All right, so are you familiar with the expression, you can't see the forest for the trees?
David, I live in a forest. Of course I'm familiar.
So it means, right, don't get so hung up on details that you can't see the big picture. The trees, one by one, are all part of the forest. They make up the forest, right? You with me?
Yes.
A summary of the forest is all the important details. There's a stream here, there's a birch tree here, a Douglas fir tree here, a red oak tree here, a rock there. But the main idea is this is a forest. All of those things together add up to the idea of a forest.
But do they add up to you doing my homework assignment?
They do not.
Aw, nuts.
You can learn anything. David out.
Oh, interesting. In this video, we'll discuss the main idea of a text, the key information the author wants you to understand. Figuring out the main idea of a text is different from summarizing it. A summary includes key details, but the main idea is a broader concept that the details add up to. That's cool. Alright, next video. In this video, David illustrates how main ideas connect to each other in a scientific non-fiction text using the story of Mexican chemist and Nobel laureate Mario Molina. Zoom in just a little bit more. That's good.
Hello, readers. This is Professor Mario Molina, a scientist who won the Nobel Prize for Chemistry. Now, I'm going to use the example of Professor Molina to teach us about connections, or drawing connections between scientific information in a text, in a piece of writing. Because reading scientific papers often involves learning about a bunch of new information all at once,
Yep.
and then learning how all of that new information connects. How is information connected? Before we dive into Dr. Molina's life and research, let's use a simple example. A bowl of noodles, say. Let's put a little sauce on those noodles, maybe a little bit of pesto. Just a little bit of green, a little bit of basil. Here's a basil leaf. So, using this bowl of pasta as an example, in a piece of nonfiction, we can learn why something happened. We can learn why the pasta was made. You know, maybe I was hungry. We can learn how something happened. So in the case of the pasta, I cooked it in boiling water and then drained it and put some sauce on top and put it in a bowl. We can learn how one event impacted other events. Let's say I had a very late lunch at like 4 p.m. that consisted of this pasta, and then by 7 p.m. when it was time for me to have dinner, I didn't have as much of an appetite because I'd spoiled my appetite with this big old bowl of pasta at 4. And we can also learn how events cause other events. So say I'd had my late lunch of pasta, and I wasn't ready for dinner at 7, so I decided to push dinner back a couple of hours. That's, you know, I'm an adult. I eat when I want. Now I know this example is a little silly, but I wanted to talk about something relatively simple, like a bowl of noodles, before we dive into Dr. Molina and his research, which is about pretty complicated scientific concepts. So these are just 4 of the ways that information can be connected. These aren't the only 4 ways, these aren't the only ways to think about information, but these are some of them, and this is a helpful way to think about making connections when you're reading. So this is taken from a passage on the website about Mario Molina's research. I'm going to read this passage, and as I do, I'm going to try and find connections between pieces of information in the text. I'm going to try and pull out of the passage the stuff that the author wants me to know, and the stuff that the author wants me to put together. As a professor, Mario
This long ass word, chlorofluorocarbons.
Molina tackled a question that no other scientist had before. It was, how do chlorofluorocarbons, what a long word, chlorofluorocarbons, CFCs, affect the atmosphere? Now this is interesting because these are parentheses, and the parentheses are telling us that CFC is a shorter way to refer to chlorofluorocarbon, which I'm going to assume is some kind of chemical. And how do they affect the atmosphere? So what is the impact of these CFCs on the atmosphere? And specifically sentences like these that are built up like this, right? So the passage is setting up the idea that no other scientist had ever asked this question, or hadn't successfully managed to deal with it, tackled it, right? What is the impact of these CFCs on the atmosphere? And if you don't know a word like atmosphere, now is a really good time to look it up, right? The atmosphere is the layer of air and gases that surrounds the rocky part of our planet. So we can just say the air, just sort of as a rough definition. So how do CFCs affect the air? And so now we've been cued to look for some sort of cause-effect relationship. Now we've been cued for some sort of relationship between CFCs and the atmosphere. They affect it somehow. They do something to it. Let's keep reading. CFCs are chemicals, right? Once used to cool refrigerators. Okay. So this is starting to answer my next question, like what are CFCs? They were also used in things like hairspray. So hairspray and refrigerators. Now, I don't use a lot of hairspray, but I do have a refrigerator in my home, which leads me to think that CFCs used to be pretty common. That's what these two sentences together tell me. I also keyed in on the word once here, which suggests to me that they used to cool refrigerators, and they used to be used in things like hairspray, but I don't think that they are anymore, probably because of Molina's research. At this time, in the 1970s, the public believed that CFCs were safe to use. All right, so now I know when this research is taking place is in the 1970s. This also kind of explains the hairspray thing. If you've ever seen a movie from the 70s, people had a much, much, much bigger hair than they do today. So we know that in the 70s, the public, like everybody, believed that CFCs were safe. However, love a however, Molina discovered something else. Something else other than what? Well, because of where this transition is, it's in the next paragraph, and it's kind of reflecting back on the previous sentence, I think we can say that something else is that CFCs were maybe not so safe to use. Something else was true. After release, CFCs rise up into the Earth's atmosphere. There, solar radiation breaks them down into something called chlorine. Chlorine destroys the ozone layer, which shields Earth from the sun's harmful rays. All right, so that's a lot of information all at once, and that's a lot of relationships of information all at once. So we've got our little can of hairspray. There it goes. And after it's used, it rises up into the atmosphere, where rays from the sun hit it, and that breaks it down into chlorine. And chlorine destroys the ozone layer, which protects us from the harmful rays of the sun. So let's go back to our pasta bowl, and instead of pasta, scribble that out and replace it with the destruction of the ozone layer in the 70s. So why did it happen? And the answer to that is CFCs got into the atmosphere. You're just going to write CFCs atmo. How did something happen? Well, when the CFCs get hit by solar radiation, they turn into chlorine, and the chlorine eats the ozone layer.
Yep.
And what is the impact of the ozone layer being destroyed? More exposure to solar radiation. And what caused this to happen? The use of CFCs in hairspray and refrigerators. So when you're trying to make connections in a scientific text, ask yourself these questions. Why did something happen? How did it happen? What are the impacts from that thing happening? And does it cause anything else to happen? Taking the information from a text and then kind of plugging it into these questions or these thoughts is a great way to figure out how information relates to other information within that passage and how it relates to stuff you may already know about. So we say, thank you, Dr. Molina, for saving the ozone layer. You can learn anything. David out.
There you go. I like that. Yeah. Makes sense. I like how these videos are on like a dark screen and kind of like the dark mode enabled. I wonder if I can... Nope. Can I make Khan Academy itself dark mode? Let's see. Oops. Better open that in another window. Let's see. Okay, I just reduced animations. So... Oh, I remember watching this video from the last one, or from the last stream, so I'll skip this one.
Hello, readers. Today I want to talk to you about why we read more than one text on one topic. And to show you why, I shall use a subject that is very near and dear to my...
Yeah, this is super important to learn, especially in today's political climate. Definitely important to hear out multiple sources.
heart. Animals that can kill you. This is not a joke. I legitimately wrote a book about this a few years ago, and to research this book about the world's deadliest animals, I read a lot of other books and sources. So I want to use this experience to show you why it's important to read more than one source on a subject. Okay, so why do it? Why not say, all right, I read one text about the Pacific blue-ringed octopus. Why do I need to read 2 or 3 or 20? There are a couple reasons. Let's start with the first, expert knowledge. If you want to know all about octopuses, you can't just look at a single piece of writing and say, bam, got it, know all I need to know, I am the knower of octopus facts now. You can't do it. If you want to become an expert, you need to be able to say, well, this book says the Pacific octopus toxin can stop your heart, but this one says that you can tell whether or not an octopus is frightened by its color. Reason number 2, to read multiple sources. Helping to determine or know what's true. Sometimes people get things wrong. It helps to read more than one text to make sure you're getting as many perspectives or ideas as you can. Sometimes information from an old book might be outdated, or information from a new book hasn't yet been proven to be true. Reading different texts can help you decide what you think about a topic, or even whether or not something is true. We can answer questions like, what is the deadliest animal? Or how do we even define deadliest? Reason number 3 to read multiple texts on the same topic, supporting an argument. The more information you can get about a topic, the more support you can give to your own opinions or arguments. I think that this animal is the most dangerous because I've read a bunch of different works about dangerous animals and I can support it with evidence, you would say. If I wanted to say that bears were more dangerous, then I don't really know what I drew. I thought I was trying to draw a sheep, but I think it's a hedgehog. If I was trying to argue that bears are more dangerous than hedgehogs, I would use multiple sources to provide evidence for those claims. Bears are taller, bears are heavier, bears have sharper teeth, bears are stronger. Hedgehogs or sheep are cuter and cuddlier. Sorry to bears. It's important to recognize that different books have different arguments in them. Every book is a different angle, right? Sometimes it's obvious, like a book with the title Deadly Animals and How to Hunt Them versus a book called Deadly Animals and How to Protect Their Habitats. People have opinions, and people make books. So, that means that books can have opinions too. Are these animals cool or terrifying? Should they be hunted or protected? Reading one text on a subject doesn't give you the full story. It's important to be able to read more than one text, compare them, and then decide what you think from that. It helps to have a purpose in mind too, as you read. Oh, and to answer your unspoken question, the deadliest animals on Earth are definitely human beings. But in a close second place is hippos.
Really?
Those guys will bite you in half. So, watch out for hippos. You can learn anything. David out.
I thought the second deadliest was probably going to be mosquitoes just due to malaria. But interesting. I'm going to check audio real quick, so I'm going to be right back. Alright, I'm back. Audio's just fine. I might have to talk a little bit louder, but it's all good. Okay, so back about reading more than one source on a topic. Reading multiple texts on a topic helps you gain expert knowledge, find the truth, and support your arguments. Different sources offer various perspectives and ideas. By comparing them, you can form your own opinions and become a better thinker. Dang, all of this in second grade. I don't think I was doing this in second grade, but this is really good to learn. All right, practice time. Rural, suburban, urban. Reading informational texts, communities, and changes. Read the passage, then answer the practice question. Urban, suburban, and rural. People live in different kinds of communities. Some are very busy, others are quiet. Some places are in between. We divide communities into 3 main kinds: urban, suburban, and rural. Oh, I'm gassy. What are urban communities? Urban communities are cities. They are busy places. Usually many people live in a small area. To be called an urban area, there has to be at least 1,000 people per city block. That's a lot of people. To fit everyone, buildings are sometimes very tall. These tall buildings are called skyscrapers. Urban areas can feel crowded, but they can be fun to live in. Cities have museums, airports, and lots of shopping and restaurants. Public transportation, like buses and subways, can be found here. Urban areas are known for non-stop activity and traffic jams. Ooh, where's this? Picture of a traffic jam in an urban community. It doesn't look like it, the U.S., but it could be. It's a lot of cars. Let's see. Samsung. Oh, it is the U.S. or English speaking. Oh, this might be the UK just due to the red bus, but it might not be as well. Where is this? Yeah, it's one hell of a traffic jam. What's outside the city center? Not everyone lives in an urban area. People who don't live in the city center but are nearby live in suburban areas. Suburbs surround cities. These areas don't have as many people as urban areas. People in suburban areas are more spread out. The homes and yards are usually larger than homes and yards in urban areas. Suburban areas have some of the same qualities as urban areas, but they don't usually have a well-developed public transportation system or very tall buildings. Picture 2. Houses in a suburban community. Should I know where this is? I don't recognize the skyline. I was about to say Chicago, but I'm like, not sure. That's a nice green grass. Picture 2. Houses in a suburban community. Country living. People who don't live in urban or suburban areas live in rural areas. A fun fact, I know rural is like one of the most difficult things to say for non-native English speakers. So, fun fact. People in rural areas are spread out and often surrounded by nature. There are fewer people in rural communities. When people think of rural areas, they think of wide, open spaces or forests. Rural areas are where farms and mineral mines, like gold and coal, are located. Those who live in rural areas often have to travel to suburban or urban areas to visit a museum, go to a professional sports game, or see a movie. Ooh, I'll be right back. Let me just close my door real quick. Alright, I'm back. I lied. I also got water. Need some water. This is a lot of reading. Take that, Osmond Gold. Anyways, there's a wide range of different types of communities around the world. No matter which type of place you live in, it has things that make it special. Look around you. Do you live in an urban, suburban, or rural community? Bangkok. They have English. It's interesting. Dallas. That was Dallas. Okay, that's cool. What is the main idea of the passage? What kinds of public transportation the city has? Nope, they didn't really talk too much about public transportation. What makes suburban communities special? That's one idea. It wasn't the whole idea. What makes a community urban, suburban, and rural? I think that might be the answer. What kinds of activities can be found in rural communities? It did go over that, but that wasn't the main idea. Booyah. Knew it. I got it. Okay. Oh, here we go. Changing communities. Communities are always changing. What are now large cities were, at one time, small towns. Take Tokyo, Japan, for example. It is the largest city in the world, but it started as a small fishing village named Edo. Later, the Japanese emperor moved there and made the city Japan's capital, renaming it to Tokyo. Today, over 37 million people live there. Cities usually start as small villages or towns when a few people settle there. Soon, more people join them. The community gets larger. Over time, more and more people come to the area. People build businesses, hospitals, and public transportation. Eventually, these cities become too crowded. Then, people look for more space. They move a bit further out, helping to create the suburban areas. How are the passages the same? Choose one answer. They both tell us about different kinds of public transportation. I don't recall. Did they even talk about public transportation? No, I talked about Tokyo. They tell us how people build tall buildings in cities. Not necessarily. They tell us how Tokyo became the largest city. No, they both don't tell us. They both tell us about different kinds of communities. I'd say this. Got it. I should take some screenshots because I'm going to need to make the thumbnail later. Why did the author include pictures in the passage? 1. To show suburban communities are best. That's subjective. To show what different kinds of communities look like. Could be it. To show all the kinds of transportation used in communities. It didn't show pictures in that Dallas picture. Pictures of like transportation in the Dallas picture rather. D. To show the tallest buildings in urban communities. Didn't really show that either. I'm going with this one. And I got it. What are 2 things people build as cities grow? Public transportation. Businesses, hospitals. I mean, it says it right there. People build hospitals and public transportation. Here we go. I like this. Lesson 3. Oh, I watched these already. Okay, different.
Hello, readers.
Let me. About don't skip the pictures in a book. Good readers use illustrations to fill in details about stories. Illustrations in stories are important because they help set the mood, describe events, and show details. Let's talk about how understanding pictures can help you understand stories even better.
Let's talk about illustrations. When you're reading a story and it has pictures in it, don't skip them. You could be missing out on a wealth of information and added detail. Good readers use pictures to help them understand stories even better. Let's talk about why that is. Pictures can help describe the mood of a story, or how a story makes you feel. If I'm telling a story about a girl and her dad going for a walk in the woods, but then when you see an image of those woods and the trees are all spindly and black and the sky is a leaden gray, what does that tell you about the mood of the story? It's grim, it's creepy, it's a scary walk in some scary woods. The way the story feels can be expressed through the illustrations. Pictures can help describe the events of a story. Maybe the story's a little unspecific. Say, for instance, we're talking about Little Red Riding Hood, and it says, the big bad wolf swallows Granny up and disguises himself as her, but it doesn't go into further detail. Well, what does that mean? What does his disguise look like? And we can look at an illustration like this and say, okay, that big bulge in the wolf's stomach is where Granny is, and the wolf's got on Granny's bonnet and little glasses and all, so that's his disguise. It is not very convincing to me, but what do I know? And pictures can help fill in important details. I can look at a character's expression as I'm reading to help me answer questions I might have about how that character feels. What's going on there with the face of the wolf? Is that a smile? Is that a grimace? The text can give me a clue, but then the picture can tell me the rest of the story. We can use our knowledge of how real-life people are or behave to help understand pictures in a story. The wolf, for example, the face he's making with his eyes narrowed and his brows knit like that and that smile creeping across his features, to me, that's a scheming face. That's the face someone makes when they're talking to themselves and planning something nasty. He's also putting on Granny's bonnet and glasses. We know these aren't things wolves are known to wear, and he seems very pleased with himself. So, he's eaten Granny, he's putting on her clothes, he seems really happy about it, but in an evil way, and we can use that to inform the way we read the story. This wolf isn't satisfied with eating an old woman, he wants to eat her grandkid for dessert. So greedy! What a greedy, mean little beast. The point is that pictures in stories are really useful. Read them the same way you read words. Understanding images will make you a stronger reader. And if you can learn that, why then, you can learn anything.
David out. Okay. Exercise time. All right, 4 questions. Let's go. Read the story, then answer the practice questions. The little yellow house stood in a meadow surrounded by a thick stand of trees. Let's see. So in this picture, we got a house that's smiling. We got some groundhogs. It could be gophers too. We got a squirrel. We got two squirrels. We got some bushes with some red fruit on them. We got two trees with some sort of magenta fruit on them. We got two ducks. What are these called? I forgot what those are called. Anyways, they're in a pond. We got some really tall trees, like pine trees actually. We got some falling leaves coming out of the sky. I don't know why leaves are falling from the sky. Those must be some really tall trees, but it looks autumn-ish. And there's a chimney right here. Duckweed, that's what it's called, right? Duckweed. No, it's not duckweed. Man, why did I think that was it? It's definitely not duckweed. Yeah, I'm in another window looking for images. Cattails. Okay, cattails. I don't know why I did not think those were called cattails. Okay, so anyways, the little yellow house stood in a meadow surrounded by a thick stand of trees. Nearby, there were raspberry bushes and peach trees. Okay. There was a small pond with ducks that quacked happily all day long. The little yellow house loved watching the squirrels scampering in search of food, seeing the gopher burrowing underground. She loved watching the trees sway in the wind and drop colorful leaves in the fall. It was lovely. It was a lovely, peaceful location. Little Yellow House also loved her family. The father and mother farmed the land. I don't see them in the picture, but I'll take their word for it. The little boy and little girl played in the yard and read books on the front porch. The family chatted around the dinner table every evening. Little Yellow House was very, very happy. Years passed. Soon the children grew up and moved away. The trees of the forest slowly disappeared. Roads and homes started popping up all around, but thankfully, there was not a house too close to her yet. One day, a large truck came and dropped dirt into the pond. Soon the pond was nothing but a hole filled with dirt. The ducks flew away. Little Yellow House was very, very sad. Oh, poor ducks. Look at them flying away. There's no more fruit on the bushes. Oh, there's the truck. Look, oh, it's a sad house. Sad house. Not long after, Little Yellow House noticed a flurry of activity where the pond once stood. Soon, another house appeared. Little Yellow House was not happy. Dang, jealous much? How dare a house come so close to me, she said to a squirrel, especially one that made my friends, the ducks, leave. One morning, Little Yellow House heard something she never heard before. Yoo-hoo, Little Yellow House. My name is Little Blue House, and I am new to the neighborhood. Little Yellow House didn't say anything. She was still mad. She didn't like this change. She didn't like all this change. Yeah, I don't blame her. I mean, if someone forced my friends to leave just so that they could live there, I would be pretty upset too, actually. Soon more things began to change. A park was built with a small pond. The ducks came back. Okay, that was nice. This made Little Yellow House happier. Then more houses started to pop up. Children filled the streets and yards. They were playing games and having fun. Little Yellow House watching the children laughing and smiling. Soon, she began to think to herself, maybe these new houses aren't so bad. If there weren't any new houses, the children wouldn't be here. I'd love to watch the children play. Pause. One spring morning, her new neighbors, Little Brown House and Little Green House, said, Yoo-hoo, Little Yellow House. Don't you just love to watch the children play? Don't they look like they're having so much fun? Then it occurred to Little Yellow House that the other houses were trying to be friends. All she had ever known was the meadow, the forest, the animals, and the family. She remembered how the family talked every evening around the dinner table. She wanted someone to talk with about her day, too. Picture 3. Oh, look at that cartwheel. Playing kickball. And flying a kite. That's cool. Look at that squirrel on top of the tree. That's cool. We got brown house and greenhouse. And the raspberries are back. Those are big raspberries. The little yellow house felt her heart open up. She replied, "Yes, I do love watching the children play. I also like to watch the ducks splash in the pond." "Me too," said Little Brown House. "The ducks are so much fun to watch," said Little Greenhouse. The Little Yellow House smiled to herself. She was glad that she took a chance and spoke to Little Greenhouse and Little Brown House. Now she had others to share her feelings with. Practice question. Complete the following sentence by choosing the correct answer from the drop-down menu. The author used the word sway in paragraph 1 to show how trees move. There we go. This question has 2 parts. Answer part A, then part B. Part A. What is the lesson of Little Yellow House? Building new houses is important? Maybe. Watching nature is enjoyable? Yes. Making new friends can be good? I might go with that one. Farms are important parts of community. Where was the farm in that story? Horrible. Horrible distractor. What detail best supports the answer to part A? Soon, another house appeared. Now she had others to share her feelings with. The mother and father farmed the land. Little Yellow House loved watching the squirrels scampering in search of food and seeing the gopher burrowing underground. Psst, don't forget to choose an answer for both questions. Booyah, got it. How does picture 2 help you understand how the little yellow... What is this? What is this typo right here? That big eye? How does picture 2 help you understand how the little yellow house feels? Pretty sad. Unhappy. No, not surprised. Doesn't look mad. Doesn't look excited. There we go. How does the little yellow house react when the little blue house first talks to her? See, she acts in a mean way. I think she acted in a mean way. How dare a house come so close to me? Especially one that made my friends, the ducks, leave. Yeah, that's pretty mean. Worried, scared. There we go. Lesson 4. Applying vocabulary knowledge. Okay, this one's affixes. Okay. Learn to figure out new words using context clues. We use the ideas. Didn't I watch this already? I swear I saw this in the last stream. Okay, I definitely saw this. Okay. Okay. Read this sentence from the passage. Public transportation, like buses and subways, can be found here. Complete the sentence by choosing the correct word from the drop-down menu. The word subway means a kind of transportation that is made out of sandwiches. Dang, it's not one of them. Underground, sub, underneath. Got it. Read this sentence. Urban areas are known for non-stop activity and traffic jams. Read this dictionary entry. Traffic, cars moving along a road, movement of planes and trains, number of people, the selling of things. Which meaning most closely matches the word traffic as it's used in the sentence? Cars moving along a road, number of people, movement of planes and trains, the selling of things. Definitely that first one. Got it. Read the sentence from the passage. Usually, many people live in a small area. Based on the meaning of usual, what is the meaning of the word usually? What happens most of the time? Making something happen. A person makes something happen. A reason for what happened. It's A. What happens most of the time? Yep. That's a weird ass question. Oh well. Read this sentence from the passage. Rural areas are where farms and mineral mines like gold and coal are located. Based on this sentence, what is the meaning of the word mine? Take something out, something that explodes, something that belongs to me, an underground pit. Take something out. Rural areas, mineral mines. Yeah, it's a noun. It has to be a noun. Mineral is the adjective, and then mine. So, yeah. Mine can mean something that makes. Oh yeah, yeah, it can be. To take something out. The verb. There we go. Yeah. Take a screenshot. Lesson 5. Here we go. Making inferences in informational texts. Oh,
From the moment.
let me read that about. Inferences are conclusions we make based on clues in a piece of writing. They're more than guesses, but not just observations. Become a reading detective by developing your ability to search for clues in the text and combine them with your own knowledge. All right, let's see. What is this? Tips and thanks. Sure, Khan Academy. Okay, here we go. Watch on YouTube.
From the moment she strolled into my office, I could tell she was going to be a difficult sentence to read. You could tell from the way she walked that she was carrying a lot of information, but getting it out of her...
Oops, not in Spanish. Change that. Just English. There you go.
wouldn't be easy. I was going to need to make an inference.
Hey, what's up, readers? David here. I'm
I love this detective vibe.
taking advantage of the cold that I have by doing my serious detective voice in order to teach you about inferences. Hold on, let me get that. Hi, this is David. I'm in the middle of doing a video. Now isn't a great time.
Hello, I have information about what an inference is.
Oh, that's great. Cool. Follow me over to the next screen. What is an inference, please?
An inference is a conclusion that you make based on clues given in a piece of writing. It's more than a guess, but it's not just an observation either.
Great. Thank you. Was that all you needed?
Yeah, that was my whole thing.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Goodbye.
So, an inference is a conclusion that you draw from writing. It's an idea that you pull from a sentence or a passage that isn't literally printed there. It's the detective work of reading, finding clues that help you make sense of what's being said. I feel like we're kind of getting bogged down in theory land, so let's take a look at an example. I went outside and made an enormous snow fort. There's my snow fort. A little D on the flag to represent me. There's my little hot cocoa, a couple marshmallows floating in there, my Khan Academy mug. They don't make Khan Academy mugs. I want a Khan Academy mug. Okay, so what conclusions can we draw from these two sentences? I went outside and made an enormous snow fort. Beautiful, brilliant, enormous. Then I came inside and had a big mug of hot chocolate. Same deal.
Inferring he's in like the South Pole or like the North Pole, and it's cold. He is cold.
Beautiful, brilliant, enormous. What conclusions can I draw about this situation? Well, if you're making things out of snow, and then you're coming inside and having hot chocolate, it's probably not the height of summer. One
It's winter. Yeah, he's in winter.
inference that I can draw from these two sentences together is that it is winter
I didn't know you could move the freaking captions. What the heck?
time when this sentence takes place. Where I live, these are not activities that one pursues in the height of summer outside. So I'm looking for clues within the text. Snow fort, I'm outside, I came inside, and then I had hot chocolate, which is not traditionally a beverage that is consumed when it's warm out. Let's take a look at another example. This paragraph is part of a longer passage that is about a young ballet dancer named Michaela. Michaela danced so wonderfully that she was awarded a scholarship to attend the Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis School at the American Ballet Theater. That was only the beginning of her dancing success. When she was 17, Michaela danced with the Dance Theater of Harlem Professional Company. Later, she joined the Dutch National Junior Company. Today, Michaela is a soloist with the Dutch National Ballet. So very quickly, without getting bogged down in this passage, what are some conclusions, what are some inferences that we can draw about Michaela?
She's a good dancer. She's been dancing for a long time. She wants to pursue Oh, she's like straight up adult now. So she started as a child, as a dancer. She's an adult now.
Who is Michaela?
She's a dancer.
What do we know about her? We know that she's a dancer. We know that she's very good at it,
Yeah.
right? She danced so wonderfully that she got a scholarship. So I'm going to say Michaela is very talented. And we know that her talent led to success because her getting the scholarship was only the beginning of her dancing success. We can see from the passage that she was part of at least 3 different dance companies: the Dance Theater of Harlem, the Dutch National Junior Company, and as a soloist with the Dutch National Ballet today. So I'm going to say that Michaela is a very hard worker. Now, notice nowhere in the passage does it say Michaela is a very talented, hard-working dancer. Just like in the previous example, it didn't say, it was winter outside, so I made a snow fort. What the skill of inference is requires you to be a detective and take your magnifying glass to the passage to discover clues. Imagine you're a detective like this dog. He's wearing a little deerstalker cap. Let's call him Sherlock Bones, the famous dog detective that I just made up. And I feel like Sherlock Holmes is always smoking a pipe, so I'm going to give this dog like a bone or a piece of rawhide or something. So imagine that you are a detective, or a dog detective if you like, and every time you read a text, let's say a book, that you are searching for clues within it. What you're doing when you make an inference is you are taking the information that you already know about the world and the places and people in it and how they behave and what they look like and what they do, and you're applying that knowledge to the text. When do people build snowmen? When do people build snow forts? When do they drink hot cocoa? In the wintertime. An important thing to remember, though, is that inferring is not guessing. Anytime you make an inference, you have to be pulling it directly from the text. That's your jumping off point. It can't just be a wild guess out of nowhere. It comes from information that you've got there on the page. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go eat my weight in cough drops. You can learn anything. David out.
Okay. Finding connections.
Hello, readers. Today we're going to talk about making connections. So, I don't mean to brag, but I have at least one friend. I'm kind of a big deal. I have friends at work, friends from the schools I attended, friends in my apartment building in my neighborhood, friends from places I used to live.
Oh, I forgot to comment about the last video with regards to inferences. I don't know when I learned about inferences. I really don't think I learned about that in 2nd grade. So this curriculum is actually like moving up really quick, just based off my own personal experience. I mean, obviously I did learn about inferences eventually, but yeah, I don't really recall learning about that in 2nd grade.
Each friend is connected to me in some way. Maybe we met in the elevator, or on the train, or at the community garden. In some cases, I introduced my friends, and now they're friends with each other, and even hang out without me. Each friend is connected to me or to each other in a different way, and for a different reason. And just in the way that people can be friends with each other, ideas can be friends with each other too. Understanding how ideas in a text connect to each other and to the topic of the text will help me understand what I'm reading. Good readers make connections between ideas in a text. When I look at a passage, I ask myself, what do all these sentences have in common? How are they connected? Let's explain with a brief passage about building ships. Long ago, shipbuilders used iron nails and bolts because iron was easy to find. They soon learned the disadvantages of using this metal on a boat. Iron quickly rusts and decays, especially near the salty ocean. They switched to using brass, which lasts longer. I want to use this paragraph to describe 3 common ways authors show connections: comparison, cause and effect, and sequence. Comparison. What's the same or different between 2 ideas? So what's similar between brass and iron is
Easy
one
to find.
example. We can say, okay, both of these are metals and both were used in shipbuilding. Now what's different between them? Well, iron rusts quickly in the ocean, and it does so faster than brass, right? Brass lasts longer. Now let's talk about cause and effect. How does one event or idea cause another event or idea? Well, what happens when you put a ship with iron bolts into salt water? It rusts and decays. The ocean causes the iron to corrode and rust. So what did shipbuilders do as a result? They switched to using brass. And finally, sequence. What order did things happen in? Now, the paragraph begins with long ago and talks about iron before it talks about brass. It then describes how shipbuilders switched to brass, so iron came first in the sequence. So when I read this passage on shipbuilding, even though it is very short, I'm able to make a lot of connections between ideas. Doing this deepened my understanding and helps me to become a better reader. Now, not every sentence or idea is connected to every other sentence or idea, just like not every single one of my friends is friends with all of my other friends. And that's okay too. Our goal is to think about how those sentences connect to the topic overall. Think about the big picture. Understanding the connections between sentences is one of many ways you can strengthen your skills as a reader. You can learn anything. David out.
I like that. Yeah, everything here is just like beautifully explained. I love learning about this stuff. Oh, well, relearning about it. But yeah, love reading about that. Exercise time. Let's go. I should screenshot one of these guys. Well, let's see if I can get this image. Oh, this is called Light Blue Friend. This is version 3 and it's double the size. Interesting. I'm saving the image. Let's see. So there's Light Blue Friend, and then there's Green Friend version 3 as well. Interesting. And then there's Space Friend. That's what that is. Interesting names. Oh, there they are. Cool. Let's go. Read the passage, then answer the 2 practice questions. Urban and rural communities. Do you live in a busy city with lots of buildings and people? Or do you live in a rural community with lots of nature where people live far away from each other? Each community has its advantages and disadvantages. Life in the city. It's New York. I think. Yeah. City skyline. I think it is. I did a puzzle. Yeah, I did a puzzle on New York when I was a kid. Kind of looks familiar. All right, we'll see what it is when we get to the references. Picture 1, a city skyline. Cities are communities where lots of people live in a small space. Cities are known as urban communities. They include places like New York City, Tokyo, and Mexico City. Cities offer residents many things to do. You can go shopping. You can go to museums and theaters. There are also many sporting events. Another upside to living in a city is public transportation. You can take a bus or train to help you get around. Cities can feel crowded. Some people think that cities are too noisy. This can be a disadvantage to living in the city. Another downside to living in the city is that there is not a lot of space. Many people in urban areas live in apartments, which are often smaller than houses. Also, there are fewer green spaces, like parks. It can sometimes be hard to find peace and quiet in urban areas. Cities have big buildings, lots of people, lots of things to see and do. Life in the country. Picture 2, a country road. Look at that rainbow. Can't point at the rainbow because in Filipino culture, it's bad luck to point at a rainbow. But that's awesome. That's definitely country. Rural communities are often called the country. There are fewer people and there is more space compared to the cities. Rural areas usually only have a few shops, restaurants. Many don't have museums or professional sporting events. Residents often need cars to get around since there isn't much public transportation. But living in the country can offer many upsides. For example, people can escape the constant noise of the city. There are plenty of green spaces. The air is often cleaner in the country. People in the country often see more wildlife than people living in the city. Rural areas also provide the wide open spaces needed for farming. The country has lots of plants and animals, wide open spaces, fewer people. Whether you live in a big city or on a farm, there are advantages and disadvantages. If you could choose, where would you live? Alright, let's see where this picture's from. Oh yeah, it is New York. And then this is Untitled. Pixabay. Complete the sentence by choosing the correct answers from the drop-down menu. Advantages are good things about living in a place. Didn't even need the drop-down. Which two details does the author use to support the idea that there are disadvantages to living in a city? 1. Cities are known as urban communities. Doesn't describe anything bad. You can take a bus or train to help you get around. That's actually a good thing. Cities are communities where lots of people live. That's just a fact. Also, there are fewer green spaces, like parks. Yeah, it's kind of a negative thing. They include places like New York City, Tokyo, and Mexico City. Just a fact. I'm not going to select that one. It can sometimes be hard to find peace and quiet in urban communities. Yeah, that's a disadvantage for sure. Sometimes you do want peace and quiet. If it's hard, that's a disadvantage. Booyah. Ooh, that's a cool check mark. Okay, practice question. Why did the author most likely include lists in this passage? Choose one answer to show why the country is the best place to live, to make information about cities in the country more interesting, to show why people should choose to live in the city, to help the reader quickly find the main features of cities in the country. I'm guessing it's D. And it was. Onward to question 4. What is this passage mostly about? How big cities are. Doesn't talk about just cities. 2 kinds of communities. I'm thinking it's that one. How many people live in the country? It describes that, but not just that. Where people should choose to live. It doesn't suggest where to live. Okay. Booyah. 400 energy points. Let's go. Lesson 6. Elements of a story. I want to just see lesson. Okay, this is the last one for 2nd grade, which is a good thing. All right, here we go. Let's watch it on YouTube.
The threat is now... Hello, readers. I'm going to draw you a map right now, and it's going to look like I've drawn a mountain. But it's not a map of a mountain. It's a map of a story. What? You're saying, how do you map a story? What makes a story pointy? These are great questions, and to answer them, I'll say this. Today, we're going to talk about the elements of a story, or the parts that make it up, like ingredients and a recipe.
Okay, so this is 2nd grade. That's incredible because I didn't learn about this until 6th grade, and I went to a magnet school in 6th grade. So, yeah. But to be fair, my 4th and 5th grade teacher was the same guy, and I don't think he was a very good teacher. He was very strict, and he had some like really interesting wisdom about him, like that he shared with us. But he was not that great. He didn't really teach us much, and having him in 4th and 5th grade, I just felt like he didn't offer anything, I guess, substantial. Once we got to 5th grade, he was a doctor as well. He had a PhD. I don't know what he had a PhD in, but we always called him Doctor, and then his last name. Not gonna mention who it is, but if you know, you know. And yeah, he said some really weird shit. I might make a video just about the weirdest things that he's ever said and like the most controversial things I've ever heard him say. I do like strongly remember many statements that he's made that were like crazy. So yeah, it'd be interesting. I think that would make an interesting video. Yeah, another interesting video I might make is like recapping kindergarten through senior year of high school, like one video per each year. So yeah, maybe I'll make that video soon.
Recipe. Many stories follow a similar pattern. Good readers know what these patterns are and can talk about them using the right terms. And this helps everyone be on the same page, so to speak. When you just
I think I remember this. So, oh man, I don't remember what the beginning is called. So you have like the beginning of the story right here, the rising action, climax, falling action, and then the conclusion.
discuss or write about the stories you
I think that's what he's gonna talk about.
read. I'm about to drop a lot of vocabulary on you, so brace yourselves.
Okay, second grade.
The story begins with
Exposition. That's what's
where we learn about the characters and the setting. Then we introduce a conflict, or a big problem. As the characters begin to interact with the conflict or try to solve the problem, we enter rising action, this
There we go.
upward slope of the story mountain. When the conflict comes to a head, we hit the most exciting part of the story, the climax. Here, the conflict can't go any further. We're at the top of the mountain. There's nowhere else to go except down. After the climax, after this most exciting part of the story, we enter falling action.
Yep.
The climax will happen much closer to the end of the story than to the middle. It's not a symmetrical mountain. The action slows down, the problem has been solved, or maybe the problem has changed, and the characters prepare for the last phase of story, the resolution.
There we go.
This is where we tie up loose ends, characters reflect on what they learned, maybe you set up a sequel. Now, look, that was a lot of information all at once. In order to make sense of it, let's apply all of those terms to a story. Now, our go-to has been The Three Little Pigs, and while that's a story everyone knows, I'm starting to think it needs to be freshened up a little bit, really work on its franchise potential, you know? So let's go through the elements of story by looking up.
Oh, I love these drawings. I love each of these houses. And he has a really cool wolf right here.
My new project, a reboot of Three Little Pigs, that I'm calling TLP Starbound.
Wow.
See, it's Three Little Pigs, but it's in space.
Three little pigs put in space.
That's a space helmet. So I'm going to put a little story map here in the corner. Okay, so, the exposition. It's the future. Pigs have expanded to every corner of the galaxy. 3 brave little pigs decide to strike out on their own, exploring a new, exciting region of space. 1 builds a spaceship out of straw. Go with me here. 1 builds a spaceship out of twigs. And 1 builds a spaceship out of a flexible hyperalloy they developed in a laboratory. She's the brain
Damn.
pig. So, we've got the setting. It's the future, they're in space. We've got our characters, the pigs. Now, the conflict. Along comes the notorious space pirate, Captain Wolf. He's big, he's bad. He wants to blow up the spaceships and eat the pigs. He begins hunting down the pig ships one at a time. I think Captain Wolf has an eye patch. No, he has a cyber eye. He's part robot. And now we enter our rising action phase. Captain Wolf engages the straw ship. They have an exciting space battle. And Straw Pig escapes in a little escape pod to the twig ship. But Captain Wolf follows. He is undaunted. The tension continues to rise. He destroys the twig ship. The 2 pigs escape
I love these sound effects.
again, this time to the brick house. The flexible hyperalloy spaceship piloted by the science pig. And now we come to the climax. Captain Wolf comes to the advanced ship. He tries to blow it up, but he can't. It's too powerful. He decides to board the ship, because that's the only way he'll get to eat the pigs, but the pigs trap him in a space barrel while he's still in the airlock. They did it. They solved the problem. Captain Wolf is trapped in a space barrel, and he can't eat them now. The climax is past, and now we enter the falling action phase of the story. In the version of the story that I know, the 3 little pigs roll the barrel into the river. So I think maybe in this version they punt the space barrel out the airlock into the cold void of space, or maybe they strand him on a deserted planet. But in any case, they never have to deal with the wolf again. The threat is now gone, and that means that the conflict has been resolved. We're in the resolution part of the story now. The first 2 little pigs, the straw ship pig and the twig ship pig, learn that they need to put more work into their spaceships if they want to survive in space, and they build fancy spaceships just like the science pig. And that's an introduction to story elements. Now that you're familiar with the ideas, start applying them to your favorite stories. You can do this with any form of media: books, comics, TV shows, movies, games. What's the conflict? How is it resolved? Once you start looking for story structure in entertainment, you will find it everywhere. Let us know what you see. You can learn anything. David out.
Thanks, David. Story elements are part of a story that, together, build its plot. We start with the exposition, where we meet characters and explore the setting. Then we face the conflict. We follow the rising action as characters try to solve the problem. We reach the climax, the most exciting part. After that, we experience falling action and resolution, where we see the story end and problems get solved. By the way, I had no idea that they were looking for donations to keep Khan Academy free. So I guess if you're watching this, go ahead and donate. I had no idea. Let me read this real quick. Millions of people depend on Khan Academy, It's always free to learn. No ads, no hidden fees. As a nonprofit, we depend on donations to make these videos and run KhanAcademy.org. If we've helped you, can you help Khan Academy keep Khan Academy free? Just 1% of those who watch these videos make a contribution. If just 1% of those who watch these videos make a contribution, we could keep Khan Academy going for years to come. Donation collected by Khan Academy. Khan Academy's mission is to provide a free, world-class education for anyone, anywhere. Our platform offers free, high-quality, standards-aligned learning resources, instructional videos, practice questions, quizzes, and articles that cover preschool through early college academic subjects with a focus on math and science. We also partner directly with schools and districts in the United States to implement Khan Academy across classrooms to reach historically under-resourced communities. We are deeply committed to efficacy. There are over 50 impact studies that demonstrate how our learning model successfully drives learning outcomes. Worldwide, more than 145 million registered learners use Khan Academy in 90 countries and 60 plus languages. Damn, I didn't know that. Maybe I will donate to Khan Academy. Okay, a story's point of view. Stories have points of view. Let's talk about the 3 flavors that they can come in. First person, which is from the I perspective. Second person, from the you perspective. And third person, from the he, she, they perspective. And as of recently, because of streaming, there's now a fourth person point of view when they ask people, hey chat. Okay, let's watch this.
Hello, readers. Today, I want to talk all about me. Well, I want to talk about 3 things. First, I want to talk all about me. Then I'm going to talk about you. And then we're going to talk about them. David, what are you talking about? You're probably asking. Well,
first person, second person, third person.
In a word?
Can you guys even see my cursor?
POV. In 3 words, point of view. Every story has a point of view. It's being told to us by someone, a narrator. But who is that narrator? Understanding the answer to that question in the stories that you read will make you a strong reader. There are 3 different flavors of point of view. First, second, and third person. First person is when the narrator is a character in the story. They use words like I, me, and my. Here's an example. I bolted out of bed, grabbed my backpack, and rushed out the door. Today was the day I was finally going to learn to ride a horse. First-person narrators can only tell us the parts of the story that they experienced or already know about. If something happens that the narrator doesn't know about, we, the reader, won't know about it either. Second person is when you are a character in the story. This is pretty rare. A lot of the choose-your-own-adventure books that were popular when I was a kid use second-person point of view, but they're not as big as they used to be. Imagine a guided relaxation recording when you think of second person. You are calm. Your breathing is slow and even. You are sitting on a bench, looking at the ocean. The ocean is calm, and so are you. This kind of point of view usually sounds like it's giving directions to you, the reader. The most common point of view in stories is the third person, a narrator who isn't a character in the story. A third-person narrator uses words like he, she, and they for characters in the story, instead of I or you. It lets the storyteller get inside the heads of characters to see how they're feeling, or what they're thinking. Here's an example. Benny opened his closet door to grab a jacket, only to be greeted by a horrifying monster. He screamed and ran out of the room, scared out of his mind.
Because he's a pussy.
Inside her monster costume, Rita giggled. She had tricked her brother. See how we can follow both Rita and Benny? The narrator can see what both of them are thinking or feeling at the same time. Now imagine if that little snippet were told from Rita or Benny's first-person perspectives, Rita using I or Benny using I, instead of a third-person POV using he or she. We might see it differently reading that story. From Rita's perspective, it's a funny prank. From Benny's, it's super scary. He just saw a monster. So, to recap, there are 3 different types of narration or points of view in a story. First person, the narrator is a character inside the story and uses words like I or me. Second person, the narrator is speaking directly to you, the reader, and uses the pronoun you. This is rare, and it sounds like it's giving directions. And third person, the narrator is outside the story. In telling it, they use words like he, she, and they. What's the POV of your favorite story? Is it first person, second, or third? How would it feel different if it were told from a different point of view? Would the narrator know different things? I can tell you one thing I know for certain, and that's that you can learn anything.
David out.
David out.
All right, thanks, David. Excuse me. All right, question time. The city cousin and the country cousin. Nicole lived in a big city. Her cousin Charlie lived on a farm. One day, Charlie went to visit Nicole. The cousins spent the day playing inside. Then they got dressed up to go see a play. Charlie and Nicole walked to the train station. "Slow down," said Charlie. "I can't walk that fast in my fancy shoes." "We have to hurry, Charlie," said Nicole, "or we won't catch the train on time. Then I'll be late for the play." When they got to the train, Charlie stuck his nose in his shirt. "What are you doing?" said Nicole when she noticed Charlie's nose stuck in his shirt. "It smells funny," said Charlie. "That's just the way it smells here," she said. Charlie looked out the window. Building after building passed by so quickly. He didn't get a chance to see what they were. It made him dizzy. People outside seemed to be rushing everywhere. "It's so busy in the city," Charlie said. The idea that the city was busy had never really occurred to Nicole before. To her, it was just normal, everyday life. Charlie and Nicole had a great time at the play. But that night, Charlie couldn't get to sleep. "What's wrong?" Nicole asked. "I had fun in the city with you, Charlie, but I miss my farm. The smells are different. The sounds are different there, too. I hear crickets instead of loud cars." "That sounds nice," Nicole said. "It is," Charlie agreed. "Maybe you can come home with me tomorrow and check it out." So the next day, the cousins left the city for the country. "Are you almost there yet?" asked Nicole as she stared out the car window. "Haven't seen anything for hours except for fields." Charlie's mom smiled. "Yes," she said. "We'll be home in about 30 minutes. Dang. Okay. Nicole couldn't believe it. 30 more minutes? How could anyone stand to stare at nothing for so long? When they finally arrived at the farm, 3 dogs came running up to the car. "Meet Ranger, Hank, and Miles," said Charlie. "Oh, I've always wanted a dog, but living in a small apartment, it's too hard to keep one." Nicole got out of the car, but it was hit by a strong smell. "What's that horrible smell?" she asked. Charlie just shrugged. It's just the way a farm with cows smells," he said. Charlie's mom smiled. "You get used to it," she said. Nicole didn't think she could ever get used to that smell. But when Nicole saw the baby cows, her heart melted. "They're so cute," she said. "Do you want to hold a baby chick?" asked Charlie. "They're only a week old and super fuzzy." Nicole spent the rest of the day playing with the chicks. By the end of the day, she almost didn't notice the strong smell of the farm. Dang. Practice question. Read the sentence from the story. Nicole got out of the car but was hit by a strong smell. Complete the sentence by choosing the correct answer from the drop-down menu. The author uses the word hit to show that the smell is very strong. Bad. There we go. Let's listen to the story. The city and country both have good things about them. It could be it. The city is a better place to live than the country. Subjective. The city and country both have good public transportation. False. The country is a better place to live in than the city. Subjective again. Which sentence best explains how the beginning introduces the story? At the beginning of the story, we learn that Nicole doesn't like the smell of the farm. At the start of the story, we learn that Nicole and Charlie are on a train going to see a play in the city. At the beginning of the story, we learn that Charlie is visiting his cousin Nicole in the city. At the start of the story, we learn that Charlie can't sleep and wants to go home. Pretty sure it's that. Complete the sentence by choosing the correct answers from the 2 drop-down menus. Charlie thinks the city smells bad. Nicole thinks the farm smells bad. Yeah, got it. Booyah. Yes, son. Let's go. That was it. Oh, shit, I did it. Yeah, it was all of them. Dang, I've been streaming for almost an hour and a half now. Reading and language arts. Oops. Shit. I just messed up my own freaking. Oh, there we go. Too far. Too far. Why did I do that? Oh, I just wanted to see if there was anything beyond this skills part. A little bit more. There we go. Alright, so. Dang, there's a lot of units for all of these. Grammar. Let's go to 3rd grade. Okay, so I did. Oh, macroeconomics. I never even took this. Okay. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I'm thinking if I feel comfortable with the topic, maybe I should just skip the videos just for time's sake, because I did 2 and a little bit more than 2 units yesterday at the same time I just did the 1 unit today, but that could be for reading. So, yeah, let's see. I want to look at 4th grade real quick. Oh, there's 6 units. Oh, man, it's a lot. Okay, 3rd grade reading. Building knowledge. Should I just... Did I read these already? 3rd grade. Oh, so if I saw the thing already. Okay, so they're reusing some. Oh, okay, that's cool. So some of these ideas are carryover from the 2nd grade unit. I'm like, this is the first time I've been in here. So, okay, that's interesting. Have you ever had a pet or made friends with someone else's pet? Pets can help people who are lonely or stressed. Different kinds of pets have different qualities, like size and personality. In this unit, we'll be learning more about different kinds of pets and how we can help a person choose a type of pet. Okay. Have you ever had a pet or made friends with someone else's pet? Pets can help people. Okay. For example, I just read that. That was part of the introduction. For example, dogs are very loyal and will cheer you up, and rats are smart and learn things quickly. Each animal, of course, has a special personality too. In this unit, we'll be reading and thinking about what makes the best kind of pet. Stop and think. What is this? Do you know any pets who make you happy to be around? Why? What qualities make them good pets? In this unit, you will compare qualities of different animals. Learn how pets can be good companions. Read different opinions on pets. By watching videos help you understand what good readers and writers do. Reading and answering questions about literary and informational texts. Learning new academic words. In order to answer the essential question, which animal makes the best pet? They love Pixabay. Pixabay, they love their Pixabay images. This is a list of some useful and interesting words you'll find in this unit. You probably know some of them already, while others might be new to you. Take some time to get to know them all before you get started. Actually, the word actually is to show what is real or true. Although it is unusual, Petra's cat actually likes to swim. Dang, that is unusual. Advantage, something that makes one thing better than another. One advantage to having a pet python in my room is that the rest of my family hardly come in. Affection, a feeling of caring or something for something or someone. Raj's pet rat shows his affection by snuggling close to Raj's neck while he sleeps. Although Yvette already had 3 dogs, she couldn't stop herself from adopting one more from the shelter. Dang. Appear. It appears as if Horatio is hungry. He keeps pawing at his bowl. Comfort, to make someone feel less upset. My kitty, Missy, comforts me by sleeping on my lap when I'm sad. Companion. Friend. Ever since Dr. Patel adopted his dog Gigi, he has had a happy companion on his hikes. Disadvantage. Something that causes something to be troublesome. One disadvantage to having my new puppy is getting up in the middle of the night to let him go outside. Groom. To brush and clean an animal. The brush with hard bristles works best to groom my dog when he has knots in his hair. Limp. Drooping. Dakota's wagging tail went limp when I told her she had to stay home. Aww. Loyal. Faithful. Ben's loyal dog always waits for him by the door after school. Similar. Close to the same. The runt of the litter spots make him look similar to his father. Yeah, they're like, oh man, yeah, this is definitely third grade. Did I read this one? I think I skipped this one. Let's go straight to practice. Read the passage. Which pet is right for you? When picking the perfect pet, it is important to keep in mind the advantages and disadvantages of each kind of animal. According to a recent survey of pet owners, the 3 most popular pets are dogs, cats, and freshwater fish. There are advantages and disadvantages to each type of pet. Our canine friends. Aww, look at him. Aww. Aww, look at your little nose. Your little snout. Aww. Picture 1. Dogs are the most popular pet. Dog owners report that dogs are wonderful companions. They are loyal and provide comfort to their owners. Dogs can also learn to perform tricks. Although dogs have many wonderful traits, there are disadvantages to dog ownership for some people. Dogs need exercise. This can be difficult if you live in a home without a yard. In addition, dogs need a lot of attention. If you don't have a lot of free time, a dog is probably not right for you. Another disadvantage is that dogs can be expensive. Visits to the vet, a dog's supplies, and grooming trips can break the bank. A pet survey had the following breakdown of average dog expenses. Vet visits, 212. Oh, yearly. Okay. Average yearly dog expenses. Food, $259. Groomer, $73. Toys, $48. Toys, $48. Oh man, I wish I just spent $48 on toys. Total, $592. Our feline friends. Picture 2. Oh, look at him with the little toy. I'm not really a cat guy, but yeah, they're cool. I don't mind cats, but I remember I was really allergic to someone's cat one time when I went into her apartment. I just kept sneezing nonstop. So some cats I'm allergic to, but I don't think I've encountered any cats recently that have made me super allergic like that. Cats are the second most popular pet. Cat owners like cats because they can take care of themselves. Unlike dogs, they don't need as much daily outside exercise. While most cats aren't taught to do tricks, they can be taught to use a litter box. That way, owners don't have to be bothered to take them outside to use the bathroom. Cats can also groom themselves. Dog owners often say that cats don't show affection like dogs, but many cat owners disagree. Many cats like to be petted and make a sweet purr when they are happy. Similar to dogs, the cost of owning a cat can add up quickly. Average yearly cat expenses. Vet visits, $160. Food, $228. Groomer, $43. Toys, $31. Total, $462. Our aquatic friends. Picture 3. Freshwater fish are the third most popular pet. Fish can be kept in the smallest of homes. They're also easy to take care of. Freshwater fish just need clean water and food. Fish are especially good pets for people who are busy. Dog and cat owners might say that fish are boring and they don't show love and affection. It may not appear that way, but fish can be very entertaining. Fish owners enjoy watching fish swim around in their tanks. Fish are also inexpensive pets. Dogs, cats, and fish are all excellent choices for pets. Each offers unique experiences to pet owners. Just keep in mind of the advantages and disadvantages of each type of animal when you choose a pet. What are the 2 most important ideas to remember from this passage? Choose 2 answers. People should think about the advantages and disadvantages of different animals before deciding a pet. Yep. Yeah, so, okay. This is a fact, but that's not, an important idea. There are good things and bad things about owning each type of pet. I think that's one. Freshwater fish are the 3rd most popular pet. That's just a fact. There are good things and bad things about owning a cat. Cats weren't the only thing that were mentioned. People should write down all the reasons they want a dog before getting one. Doesn't suggest that at all. Yeah, I got that right. What's up? I got that right. Below is a list of some of the sections in the passage and a description of each section, but they're mixed up in the wrong order. Drag the description to match the correct section of the text. Which pet is right for you? One thing about these reading exercises I started to notice, even for the second grade ones, is that a lot of this relies on memory. And I feel like sometimes people confuse like memory for intelligence, but like unless you remember the content without going back and forth between the question and the content, like it's really hard to get these the first try. I'm not going to say that these are like using all of my brain capacity, but I can imagine somebody who may not have as like big of a memory capacity as I do have like lots of trouble and struggle with these. So a lot of these are like a memory game, to be honest, and these are just the easy questions. So canine friends, feline friends. That's it. What conclusions can you draw from the charts? Caring for dogs and cats can be costly. Yes. Fun. Easy. One second. To add a lot of static. Let's see. Okay, cool. I just wanted to turn the fan on. I didn't want it to interfere with the microphone. I'm gonna test the test. We're good. Okay, hopefully my audio doesn't get messed up. Last time I tested the audio, it got really messed up. So let's see. The main idea of this passage is that there are advantages and disadvantages of owning certain pets. For each detail from the passage, choose whether it's an example of an advantage, a disadvantage, or neither. Cat owners are likely cat owners like cats because they can take care of themselves. That's an advantage. Dogs, cats, and fish are all excellent choices for pets. Fish can be kept in the smallest of homes. Advantage. I hate how this doesn't freeze. Like, you know, like sometimes like the header freezes. I hate how this header in particular doesn't freeze. If you don't have a lot of time, dog is probably. Yeah, you need time. Got it. Booyah, there we go. Okay. We watched this video already. Oh, I should hit the button. Evaluating source reasoning of evidence. Okay, let's just skip to the practice questions. Read the passage. Cheers for Cats by Fatima Banik. My name is Fatima, and I volunteer with Friends for Life, a shelter that finds forever homes for cats. Cats are, by far, the best pet available. Okay, alright, let's see what you got to say. There are so many reasons that cats are great. First of all, it's a scientific fact that cuddling your cat makes you less stressed. Did you know that there's actually a cuddle chemical that's released from your brain when you pet your cat? It's true. Second, cats are good for fighting loneliness. It's nice for people that live alone to have a cat to keep them company. Cats are comforting and provide companionship. Third, cats are cheaper to own than dogs. You don't have to groom a cat. That saves money. So what are you waiting for? Go visit your local shelter and adopt your next best friend. Okay, match each claim from the Cheers for Cats with the evidence that best supports it. Cats make you less feel stressed. Yeah, loneliness, company, money. There you go. Easy. Both authors argue. Okay. Read the two passages. They are both personal essays about the author's favorite kinds of pets. Once you've finished, answer the question. Dogs are the best. Hell yeah, dogs are the best. Look at him. Look at him. Look at that dog. Look how cute he is. Look how fluffy he is. He just wants to be petted. My name's Alva. I work in a vet's office and see people and their pets every day. I can tell you that dogs make the best pets. Dogs are great companions and actually keep people happy and healthy. For one thing, dogs are loyal animals. They like to be around their people as much as possible. Studies show that dog owners don't feel lonely very much. Dog owners also report that their dogs are the best friends. I know my dog's my best friend. Have you ever petted a dog when you were sad or mad? I bet it made you feel better, didn't it? Dogs bring comfort to people. Doctors say that being around a dog can lower your blood pressure and reduce stress. One more reason that dogs keep their owners healthy is the fact that dogs need exercise. Dogs get you up off the couch and outside. Everyone should get a dog, and this is the same one from Fatima Bannock. Both authors argue that dogs and cats provide comfort. What are some other examples of providing comfort that they could have used? When you're sad, that provides comfort. It's easy to bring your pets with us. Reach out. Let's say no. People who live alone say that they love being greeted for everything at home. Pets love to play games, so you should buy new toys when they're entertained. I think this is it. Yep, got it. Okay, let's see. Pick two questions that the author answers in the text. This is the alpha one. Okay. Why do you need to take care of it? What's the best way to exercise dog? How much does a dog cost? How do dogs help people? How do people help dogs? Which pest is? How do dogs help people? Why do you need to take care of a dog? How do people help dogs? I don't think it does that. Okay, good. Okay, Fatima Bannock and the Alva Bravo. How is that information in Dogs Are Best similar to the information for in Cheers for Cats? They both argue that pets help people get more exercise. False. They both suggest going to a shelter to get a pet. Not really. They both tell us why pets are expensive to own. No. They both explain how pets can be comforting. Yes. Definitely. Booyah. Context clues. Figurative language. I'll just read the about. I think yesterday. Yeah, I saw this one already. Okay. I definitely did not read this one. Figurative language is when you say one thing but it means another. Examples are similes, using like or as, metaphors, not using like or as, personification, giving non-living things human characteristics, and hyperbole, exaggerating for emphasis. Allusions are references to characters or events from literature, movies, or culture. Figurative language is a way to express yourself without saying something literally true. Created by David Reinstrom. Okay, this is 3rd grade. So, let's see. Practice shows what you can do. I'll show you what I got. Alright, read the passage. Which pet is right for you? When picking the perfect pet, it is important to keep in mind the advantages and disadvantages of each animal. According to one recent survey of pet owners, I read this already. 3 most popular pets are dogs, cats, and freshwater fish. There are advantages and disadvantages for each type of pet. I read this already. Yeah, I did. Okay. Why do the author use loyal in paragraph 2? They are loyal and provide comfort to their owners. To support argument, they are great companions. To support the idea that dogs can learn to do tricks. To support the ideas are costly to own. To support the idea that dogs should see a vet regularly. I mean, they should, but I don't think that supports it. Many cats like to be petted and make a sweet purr when they are happy. Why does the author include this information? To describe how cats spend their time, to explain how cats are similar to other animals, to describe How cats communicate with other animals. To explain how cats show affection. I'll say that one. There are advantages and disadvantages to each type of pet. Which two words have the closest meaning to type as it is used in a sentence? Sign, pattern, kind, case, group, model. Sign, pattern. The passage says that dogs are loyal and provide comfort to their owners. Which two examples of a dog's actions could be described as loyal and comforting? Snuggling in bed, yes. Choose two answers. Waiting by the door for its owner to return. Barking at people riding their bikes. Chasing tennis balls, digging holes in the backyard, running after squirrels. Check. Oh, that's funny. The first two were the answers. Yesterday, I think I did a test run off stream for a question, and I was trying to get it wrong. So like, okay, I'm just gonna select the last two answers. I selected them, and those were actually the right answers. So I was like flabbergasted because I was trying to get it wrong, but I got it right instead. That's hilarious. Yeah, I should have clipped that. Yeah, there we go. Lesson 5. Oh, cool. Skip these because I've watched these two already. So let's go. Read the story, then answer the practice question. A new pet. Picture 1. Look at this picture. He's dreaming on the moon about... What animal is that? A dog? Looks like a rabbit, but like, because of the ears, it could be a dog. Okay. For as long as Diego could remember, he wanted a dog. Okay, it's probably a dog. Hardly a week would go by without him pestering his grandmother about it. And every time her answer was the same. No, Diego, we can't get a dog. We live in a small 2-bedroom apartment in the city. We're already bursting at the seams. Not to mention taking a dog for a walk is difficult. We have the disadvantage of living in a full 6 blocks from the nearest park. How is a dog supposed to get exercise every day? Plus, we would have to find time to groom a dog. Diego's response was always the same. I promise to walk the dog every day, abuela. You wouldn't have to do anything. But Diego's grandmother never gave in. One day after school, Diego's grandmother told Diego they were going out. Where are we going, abuela? Diego asked. Just come with me, replied his grandmother. Where are we going? Diego wondered as they walked. It's a school night. Yeah, they're walking. To Diego's shock, his grandmother led him to the animal shelter. As they entered, Diego's grandmother turned around and said, Diego, you worked so hard at school and I'm very proud. To show you how responsible I think you are, I'm going to let you get a pet. But it can't be a dog. We simply don't have the room for a dog. We don't have a yard for a dog to play in. You could pick either a fish or a hamster. Diego felt disappointed. A fish or hamster was nothing like a dog. Fish and hamsters weren't loyal and sweet. They didn't know affection to their owners. Diego didn't think either of them would be a good companion. But maybe if I show Abuela how responsible I am with a pet, she'll eventually let me get a dog, he thought. Diego considered both the fish and the hamster. When he took the hamster from the cage, he realized that, in fact, a hamster was similar to a dog after all. The hamster showed Diego affection by nuzzling his hand. The hamster's soft hair could be groomed. But more importantly, the little hamster provided comfort to Diego and would be a nice companion. I'll call you Phil, Diego declared to his new friend, as he gently petted Phil's soft spotted fur. What does this mean? Practice question. Which 2 details from the text are shown in the picture? 3. Diego declared to his new friend as he gently petted his soft fur. Diego considered both the fish and the hamster. Diego didn't think either would be a good companion. Diego felt disappointed. A fish hamster was nothing like a dog. The hamster showed Diego affection by nuzzling his hand. Which 2 words describe Diego? Loyal, hardworking, curious, selfish, determined. Determined, curious, hardworking. Let's try these. Okay, cool. Read this sentence from the story. Where on earth are we going? Diego wondered as they walked. It's a school night. What does the sentence tell you about Diego's grandmother? She enjoys taking walks around the city. She likes to surprise people. She wants to have adventures. She follows a routine. Yeah, she follows a routine. Read this sentence from the story. But maybe if I show Abuela how responsible I am with a pet, she'll eventually let me get a dog, he thought. What does the word eventually help you understand? Diego understands he will never be allowed to get a dog. Diego hopes his grandma will let him get a dog tomorrow. That Diego has not given up his dream of getting a dog. That Diego's happy with Phil and doesn't care about getting a dog anymore. He wants to do it. There we go. Third grade easy. Okay, let's just go straight to this one. Reading poetry, dog language. Read the poem, Dog Language, by Marion Hovey Brigg. Our Townsend is the finest dog that ever wore a collar. We wouldn't sell him. No, indeed, not even for $1. I understand his language now, because on it appears that dogs can talk and say a lot with just a tail and ears. When I come home from school, he meets me with a joyous bound and shakes that long tail sideways, up and down, round and round. Pa says he's going to hang a rug beside the door to see if Towser will not beat it while he's busy greeting me. Hang a rug beside the door if Towser will not beat it while he's busy greeting me? What? Then when he sees me get my hat, but thinks he cannot go, his ears get limp, his tail drops down, he just walks off, slow. Though I say the magic words, well, Towser, want to come? Why say, he answered, yes, although at speech he's dumb. Which two lines from the poem best show that Towser and his owners can communicate with each other? Towser, to see, our Towser's the finest dog that ever wore a collar. Then when he sees me get my hat, but he thinks he cannot go, that's one way. If Towser will not beat it while he's busy greeting me, why, I say, he answered yes, although at speech he's dumb. Because honest it appears. There you go. Why did the poet choose to use joyous bound to describe how Towser greets the speaker? Joyous bound. Because it rhymes. Let's see. When I come home from school, he greets me with a joyous bound. To show how much Towser helps with cleaning rugs. What? Let's go outside. Excited. There we go. Which sentence best explains how stanza 1 fits in the overall structure of the poem? Take the summary. Stanza 1 explains what Towser's tail does when he is excited. Stanza 1 shows why Towser is an important part of the speaker's family. Stanza 1 introduces the speaker's feelings for dog Towser. Stanza 1 describes how Towser feels when his owner gets home. Read the sentence. That dogs can talk and say a lot with just their tails and ears. This line shows that the speaker pays close attention to Towser's actions so that she can learn how he's feeling. Yeah. Has learned the language of all dogs and used it to talk with Towser. Okay. Knows how to talk with Towser and get her to do what she wants. Thinks that anyone could talk with animals like Towser if they just try hard enough. What? Well, yeah, this is 3rd grade, so I'm like, maybe. Unit 2. Okay, I did 2 units today. It's almost 2 hours. So, yeah, that was interesting. I think I'll do another 2 units tomorrow. But, yeah, this has been really interesting. Reviewing and watching the videos again. So, yeah, I think I will call it a night there. I made it to the 2nd unit in 3rd grade. And yeah, going to like 4th and 5th grade, those are going to be even longer. Let me see. I just want to see, of course, 3rd grade reading skills. It's like, how do I, oh yeah, I did. Dang, I wanted to take all this. That's crazy. Macroeconomics. Civics. Hold on. Oh, here we go. Reading language arts. So I did all of second grade. I did all of third grade. Fourth grade. Let me see what these heroes. Oh, these are like an actual course. Yeah, these are like actual course. Oh, interesting. I want to see what 10th grade is real quick. Into the unknown. This year, you'll study cause and effect of exploration travel. You'll learn to cite strong text evidence to support ideas and inferences, analyze how authors use key details to build and refine central ideas, and trace the development of themes and complex characters. Let's see. These are all okay. Interesting. All right. So yeah, I mean, things are getting a little bit more complicated. 6%. How do I have 6% in this? Oh, there's carryover. That's cool. Proficient mastered. So that's interesting. I like how they reuse some units across the grades. That's nice to know. But yeah, until next time. That was really interesting. I liked reading about pets and urban, suburban, and rural areas. Yeah, that concludes tonight's stream. I think tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but when I stream again, I will actually try to stream on Instagram. So yeah, today's stream was both presented in horizontal format and vertical format, but I definitely think that streaming on Instagram might be a little bit better. I have a little bit of a following there, so maybe I'll get a few viewers finally. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. All right. Till next time. Thanks for watching.